What a morning it's been. It started off very cold down here. A great first matchup though, Ross. Michel Bourez up against Ryan Callanan, and everyone thought that Ryan would fire up. He is up against it in 34th position on the ratings, but Michel, just too much experience in this tricky lineup.
You're right. There was high anticipation for our Cal, which is, I think, one of the coolest nicknames on tour. But you know, the waves were a little tricky. This is the first heat of the morning, and it was kind of tough to find the right wave. Ronnie, we saw just a little bit of that devil wind, that northwest wind that was going up the face. He looked smooth though, didn't he? It looked like, okay, maybe this is his contest where he's going to find that rhythm, but at the end of the day, Michel was just a little too tough.
Definitely tightened up his wave selection a little bit, but Michel, he knew that J-Bay would deliver some decent set waves. He let a couple of rides go early on, and Ryan was able to establish a lead, but it wasn't a big enough lead with a guy like Michel out in the water, and he tapped into this set.
Yeah, we talked about how Richard Marsh is coaching Ryan, and you know, I thought it was clever that he got that 5 to turn the heat, but this was that buzzer beater from Michel right here, which we were talking about the jittery toes, and you could see he was just a little bit nervous on this wave, but he finished it really clean with a couple of big floaters on a giant set wave. Always tough to kind of keep the nerves at bay, but the good old Spartan, he looked like he was pretty stoked when he came in.
Agony and ecstasy there at the end of that heat. Ryan Callanan will have to fight back in a big way in the back half of the season to keep his spot. This was an interesting heat, and the only time in their second round that we've seen one of the top seeds go down so far. But you picked it earlier, Alejo. He's got a great track record here at J-Bay, and you felt that he was the favourite going into that matchup.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we talked about on paper, obviously Nat Young has the red jersey. He was the top seed in this heat, but, you know, incredible sneaky record from Alejo Moniz. 3 quarterfinal finishes. And this is coming from someone who, you know, doesn't have a stack of really high finishes. So whatever it is about J-Bay and Alejo, it's the perfect concoction.
We mentioned that we felt that Nat is missing some of the potency in his backhand attack. This year he had his best performance over there at Margaret River, but he's in 13th place. He's going to drop a few spots with a round 2 exit, but Nat's just the guy that you would think is going to save himself with some big performances in the back half of the year.
I think so, and you know, we talked about it. He has thick skin, so I think whatever it was in that heat, he'll try to, you know, kind of digest it. I did see a big crease on the bottom of his board, so I'm not sure at what point during the heat he buckled his surfboard, but that never helps. But you know, he looked pretty bummed out after that heat.
No doubt. Joel Parkinson, he missed the last event, Fiji. It's one of his favourite stops on the schedule, but J-Bay is without question his preferred destination. He came up against Matt Banting. I always felt this was going to be a really tough task for Matt Banting, especially if he didn't go to the air. Pete Mel talked about it during that last heat. Matt has that over Joel at the moment. He's so strong in the air, but if you get in a rail battle with Joel, you're going to come out second best.
That's a good call. You don't want to mess around with Joel in terms of silky carving. He kind of owns that category pretty much out of anyone on tour, and he looked pretty loose, didn't he, Ronnie? You know, he looked like he was confident. He didn't have any signs of nerves, and more than anyone on tour, he surfed so far up past Sharon's house almost. He's, you know, really confident with the lineup out here at J-Bay, which is half the battle.
We know he's got that knee injury, not hindering him at all. The veteran's firing pretty well here